What does that have to do with selling fence?
It doesn't need to. It's unique, it's different, and it's going to get their attention. Just like big monster trucks don't mean crap for selling fence.
Welcome back, everybody. Joe Everest, the fence expert. Hey, one of the most common pieces of feedback we get about the Saturday morning live Ask the Expert segment is those things are long, and they're not wrong. They last about 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours. Sometimes, a few weeks ago, Caleb and I got into a pretty good discussion about marketing. I think it lasted closer to 4 hours. Nobody's got time to sit through 4 hours of listening to a couple experts talk. I get it. So Jeremy's created a new segment just for you guys called Hot Takes. It's usually a shorter segment of the longer conversation, basically hitting the hot topics, if you will, of that live segment. So without further ado, here comes this week's Hot Take. Cannon wants to know, anybody have experience with radio ads?
So I don't run radio ads or TV ads at all. However, my competition did one time. And it was so hilarious because they were upset with my big monster trucks and all the advertising I do that way. They ran an ad and literally said, buy fence from XYZ and not Mr. Fence because you're only going to be buying new big tires for the big trucks. Our phone rang off the hook. People are like, I heard your radio ad. I'm like, we don't have a radio ad. All they heard was Mr. Fence big trucks. You know, it backfired on that company.
Wow.
It was hilarious. It really was. But at the end of the day, we have more people call our office and they literally say, are you guys the ones with the big trucks? Yes. Okay, great. I need a price for a fence. Like it has anything to do with fence at all. Yeah. Just find something to be different and market that. But I really don't have much experience with radio to tell you how effective it is. I just haven't done it.
Yeah, I've talked to some people that have done conservative radio ads that they were telling me about. They did conservative radio for 20 years or something. It's really good to them, but I've never done it in the fence business or in the stain business. And I've always kind of wanted to, but I felt like I'd just be throwing it out the window.
No, I don't know about it. It depends how you do it, right? If you do anything, you have to build your ad intentionally for the platform, right? So an Instagram ad put on Facebook probably won't work. This is my problem with people that say, I tried Facebook advertising and it doesn't work.
This is a long-term play.
Yeah, and did you do it correctly?
Well, I would say it's probably, I don't know, more marketing than I think.
So here's
the name out there.
We spend about $70,000 a year on radio, and here's how it works for us: is we do storytelling, right? It's purely branding. It is not a make the phone ring tomorrow. It's keep yourself top of mind so that when people need a fence 2 weeks from now, they think about it, right? Yeah. So some examples are, and like I said, it's purely storytelling, but telling stories people can relate to. So when I was a kid and my granddad had this business, he had this refrigerator in the back room. So the way it worked is you had to walk through the house. The house was the office. So we bought a commercial property that had a house on it. We turned the house into the office. You had to walk through the house, out the back, and then you were into the yard. So, but my granddad kept a refrigerator. It was one of those cool open top refrigerators. And I have no idea how that voodoo magic worked, but it did. But they kept cold Cokes and Sprite in that. Now, think about it. This was 20 plus years ago. When Coke was in glass bottles. So the story goes, when I was a kid, one thing I remembered is after a hard day's work, the guys would come in and they'd sit around the dining room table sharing a cold Coke in the glass bottles. And I don't know what it is about those glass bottles, but it was colder and it tastes better than Coke does today. Mm-hmm. Anyway, just one of those things I remember, and I forget how we tied it in, but basically that, we've been protecting the Ozarks, or protecting your piece of the Ozarks since 1955. Ozark Fence is the first family of fence in Southwest Missouri. We'd like to share a Coke with you. And that ad ran a year and a half ago, and we still have people that are like, you know what? Remember when you were talking about Coke in glass bottles? It did taste better. And I don't know what it is, but it was better in glass bottles. I had a salesman stop by and bring a 6-pack of glass Coke bottles. And you know what? He and I sat down for about half an hour and talked about whatever it is he wanted to talk about. So that salesman was smart too. But so
good icebreaker.
If you run it grabbed my attention.
So you said you're spending about $70,000 a year, 70,000.
Yeah, it's 68 and change. Yeah, it's a little bit under.
And so that's coming on the radio pretty frequently. Is that one channel?
Yeah,
or multiple channels?
three times a day on 2 channels.
Nice.
Where I go back and forth because we've been talking about adding a 3rd channel. But it's also figuring out what the demographic in your area listens to.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it's classic rock and country.
Yep.
Works really well. The 3rd channel is more of a pop channel. And so, yeah, we go back and forth on that. But for us, country and classic rock are kind of our 2 main channels. And like I say, we just tell stories. So the fun stories we tell now are the way we make it fun and memorable for people. So my sister Sarah is our client experience officer. So the running gag on every radio station, on every radio commercial, is she ends it with, "You just call and ask for me, Sarah. I'm the CEO." And every time it's like, and I pitch in like, that's not what that means. And
I like it.
And about twice a year, we replay the ad where it's Sarah saying, "Hey guys, Sarah with Ozark Fence, and I'm the new CEO." And I'm like, whoa, Sarah, listen. When I said client experience officer, I was spelling experience with an X. You're the CXO. Like, no, spell it out. And it's a 60-second ad of her and I arguing on whether she's a CEO or the CXO. And that works too, because people are like, "Oh, Sarah, like CEO, huh?" And it's a funny way. Now, what does that have to do with selling fence?
It doesn't need to. It's unique, it's different, and it's going to get their attention. Just like big monster trucks don't mean crap for selling fence.
Yep.
I think you're on the right track.
What can I do to live rent-free in the back of someone's mind?
Yeah.
What can I do?
Blue, orange. I mean, that's another thing. I'm living rent-free in the back. When they see blue in my town, they think in Mr. Fence.
So that's a funny conversation too. And I think I've told it on here before. I was at the welding supply store getting gas for the fabrication shop one day, and this guy pulls up in an orange truck, not one of ours. And he walks up and he goes, "Hey, could I get some cards?" Like, yeah. Gave him some cards. I was like, "You thinking about a fence?" And he's like, "No, actually. But every time I stop at a gas station, people come up and ask me for business cards, and I'm tired of it. So if you give me some business cards, I'll hand them out for you."
I love it.
I got all the business cards for you right now.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But you're right, Sean, that color branding is huge, right? Or whatever you can do to be memorable.
Yeah.
And
find a way to be different. Unique.
All right, guys, that concludes this week's hot take. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you like the format? Do you not like the format? Let me know in the comments below. We're still figuring this out, and we could use your help. But for now, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. And I'll see you next time.